the other hen pheasant fly I'm going to do. It's basically a Frazer nymph with a difference. Gordon Frazer was a really good reservoir nymph angler who created. It's basically it's a pheasant tail nymph, but slightly different. And it's because the reason I like it is because it's tied with hen pheasant, which I love hen pheasant. One of the reasons I think I like hen pheasant so much, I just think it's a better colour. When you look at like a lot of the insects, that's just basically a Beatrice nymph. You've got lots of little olive nymphs like that. You've got like your lake olives, pond olives, all sorts. So for years, all of these nymphs have been tied with like your cock pheasant tail fibres. But I just think so much that the hen pheasant colours just match the natural so much better. People say, oh, you've got a lovely mahogany colour of the cock pheasant. Well, I've never seen insects that colour. So, I'm not saying it doesn't work, because they do work. They obviously do work. Frank Sawyer, used to pull trout out of the river left, right and centre with cock pheasant. But I must admit, I just really prefer the colours of the hen pheasant. It just seems to match natural. So we're going to have a go at a Frazer nymph. It's going to be a Frazer nymph slightly with a difference. We're going to tie it with perdigon thread. So it's basically it's got a thread filament and also like a pearl flashy filament as well. So we're going to do 2 flies with this, but it's just something a bit fun. It's got a nice bit of sparkle to it, so just something a bit different. The original Frazer nymph was always tied on size 14 Camasan B830s. So I'm not really a fan of sort of that type of hook, because it's got a very sort of narrow gape. It's a nice light hook. I like the lightness of it, but I just don't like the shape, and it's barbed as well, so I don't like that. So we're going to go with the usual size 12 nymph hook instead. And these make really good imitations of like tiny immature damsel nymphs as well, like lake olives. It's just a really good natural little nymph. They look really pretty. So we've got our size 12 nymph hook. I'm going to go on, we've got our perdigon thread. I'm going to use this for a rib as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spool off quite a lot out of my bobbin holder. So that's going to be our rib. So basically we've got a really long tag end. And we're going to start off tying with this thread. See, it's great stuff. You can whip finish with this as well. So you can basically just tie a whole fly with it. I've been using it a lot for buzzers. We do a buzzer with it.
Is that?
This one is a Sabai one, but I think Semperfly do it. Vivus do one. The problem is I don't know what how big the Semperfly one is, but the Vivus one is quite chunky. This one's really fine. You can tie tiny flies with it. You can whip finish with it. It's just a much more sort of delicate thread. So we've got our hen pheasant centre tail, and we're going to pull out a clump. So again, lining the tips up. So what about sort of 10-15 fibres, something like that. Just getting the tips lined up nicely. So same as before, they aren't lined up very nicely. They do that again. That one's getting a bit ropey. There we go, line the tips up. Actually, no, it's not. That one's nicer. I'll get that on that. Right. That's better. there's our tail. It's the same as usual, offer it up for length. So I'm just going to tie it in, but I'm just going to stay tying on that exact same spot. Check the tail for length. It's still not lined up that great, but I'll let it go. And then we're going to run the thread up towards the front of the fly. So now I always think it's stronger if the rib material stays winding in the same direction as the thread. So to get the alternate directions with the body material, the herl and the rib, I'm going to wind the body material in the opposite direction, not the rib. I just think it works out stronger like that. But. So we're just going to create a nice herl abdomen, and I'm going to wind it basically almost right up to the eye. Tie that in. Go 2 turns on it, a couple of turns in front. And trim that off. Now we're going to use our tag end as the rib, so we can wind that up through. And there we go, there's our rib. And now we're going to take another clump from the same feather we did before, about the same, about 10, 12 fibres, something like that. So this is going to be the thorax cover and the legs. So again, line those tips up as best you can. Now the secret to this now is, because these tips are going to be the legs, is tying it in at the right point. So we don't want the legs being too long or too short. So just want to tie the tips overhanging the eye. It'd be a bit too long, but we can just get a few turns on it and then see. Then I can sort of fold them back, see how long they're going to be. It's a little bit too long. I basically sort of want them to just sort of kiss the hook point. So we'll try that. They're not lined up very well either, but we'll let it go. So then rub that in. So then this is going to be our thorax cover. Those are going to be our legs. So all we need now is a little bit of dubbing just in the thorax. So this is just a bit of ordinary just hairs here. Just the tiniest little bit. That's all we need, just to basically cover the thread wraps there. So you can double on this thread and everything. It's pretty cool. And then we're going to fold our thorax cover over. Couple of turns on that. Try and keep your thread wraps to a minimum. We don't want a bulky head. So just a few, get the thorax cover tied in, trim that off. And now it's a case of trying to tease it so you have half the fibres either side of the eye. So sort of 5 that side, 5 this side. These fibres really aren't lined up very nicely there. We might be having the blue Peter fly on this one as well. But just tease them back. It's a really pretty fly when they're tied nicely. And then you get a really nice little flashy head with this thread as well. So just very carefully, and especially with whip finishing this, it's fine whip finishing it, but just don't do anything tight. Just keep your turns nice and loose. So just doing a really nice soft whip finish. And then when you come to put it through tight, it will just scrape through, just get through nicely. There you go. If you do the turns too tight, when you come to put it through, it'll probably snag, but yeah, so they get stuck. But there we go, we'll just varnish the head on that. There's a pretty little nymph. It's not, I'm not happy with it. You're getting the other one, but It's good to be fussy, I think. Yeah, I took more time like lining up the fibres on this, because where you've got the legs and everything, you want them all the same length. The tail's nice. It's just got a nice little bit of sparkle to it as well. So they're great for pond olives, lake olives, really immature damsels.